So, integrated project insurance, removing the barriers for true collaborative working. Adopt partnering and become lean. These were some of the recommendations from the Latham and Egan reports, following Latham's damning description of our industry as fragmented, ineffective, adversarial, and incapable of delivering for its customers. Over 20 years on, we're still too wasteful, still too inefficient, and we still need to deliver better value. Good afternoon, my name is Emma Hooper, and back at university I wrote a paper called Rethinking the Practice of Construction, in which I studied the Latham and Egan reports. And yes, I was disappointed when I entered industry, as I saw very little evidence of change. But what it did do is it taught me best practice from the outset, and above all, never to accept the norm, which is why I'm standing here right now. Today, I've been in the industry over 9 years, 7 of which have been in BIM. And right now, I work as a BIM technologist at Metz Architects. My role ranges from defining information strategies for whole projects, through to managing models and software interoperability, right down to the day-to-day modelling itself and all the associated outputs. So I'm well and truly at the coalface, and I produce information on a daily basis. So I think I've got a pretty good overview of the BIM process. So to start with, I want to define what I believe BIM to be. And that's the planning, communication, digitisation and validation of information in a way which enables efficiency, thus providing value for the client. In short, it's all about information management. But what is information? Information is the interpretation of data or fact put into context and interrogated. On projects, we take it, add to it, remove bits, and tailor it to a particular task, and then pass this on to the next person who does the same. There are millions of these mini information exchanges which occur, and these essentially create the workflows of a project. Each of these exchanges has a time and monetary cost associated with it, and at the moment we're too unproductive with these exchanges, creating waste. And I'm not talking about physical waste, I'm talking about information waste. So let's compare this against a typical design and build project to see where the problems occur. Incomplete information. So clients struggle to communicate all their requirements. So what they ask for may not be what they actually mean. Designers design based on a limited palette of information. They do not have the in-depth buildability, cost, time, and product knowledge the delivery team has. A design can be put forward which isn't necessarily achievable. Overproduction of information. At tender, the information required can be more than the level of design development. So rather than a gentle slope, you get a spike. It diverts a great amount of time into documenting the design for one purpose rather than progressing it. Duplication of information. Once the contractor is on board, the design tends to be designed again. Value engineering may cut capital costs, but in terms of resource, interdependencies and life cycle, it is likely to cost more. In addition, a whole new design team may be brought on board, who don't hold the design intent. As their requirements weren't set at the start, information is sometimes scrapped and started again, generating waste. Unproductive information. Current PI insurance and contracts have created a culture based around liability and silo working, where separate companies, each with their own agenda, require additional information to transfer risk and blame. For every piece of information which crosses a silo, additional pieces of information are required to negate blame. Information barriers. Silos also create barriers in communication, so not all the information reaches where it should. As a result, each party creates information in isolation and are then surprised when it's uncoordinated. And that's just one barrier. Think of all the other barriers on a project. including the big fat contractual line, the greatest barrier of them all. So in summary, what the client wants is the input. The project is like this leaky machine which processes the information and starts again halfway through. And the output, the facility, is not fully what the client wanted. This is why our industry has not become as productive as we need it to be, and why Latham's comments still prove to be the elephant in the room. The theory around BIM Level 2 enables us to better plan and manage the information in the exchanges, so it exists once, but constantly evolves, becoming more detailed over time. It is structured in a much more linear way. And at the moment, we're taking this and we're applying it to this. And that's the problem. BIM is trying its best to hold together a fragmented and ineffective project structure. It's making BIM inefficient and not allowing us to get the real benefits and value from it. We need to start looking at prevention rather than sticky plasters. Over the past 5 years, we've made good progress with the technology and process side of things to increase the number of digital-based information exchanges. And yes, we've still got a long way to go in terms of interoperability. But we need to now focus on people and process, almost like the interoperability of people. But unlike technology, people are random, unpredictable, and difficult to manage. You can have the best process and technology in the world, but if you don't have the buy-in from the people, then it's useless. So since this is a BIM event, I'm going to say something controversial now. BIM alone cannot remove all waste and achieve full efficiency without changing the way projects are structured and the way that people behave. It requires some help. To change the industry and to become truly lean, we need to focus on procurement. It sets the basic framework of a project and controls all aspects of it. And as a direct result, it affects how people behave. But why change now? We have seen how BIM Level 2 is struggling, but people are now talking about BIM Level 3. This is going to be impossible without change. We can't just pile on the technology and expect it to work. Whether you agree with it or not, Brexit is here to stay. When there is uncertainty, the industry resorts to type. We buy cheaper and start a race to the bottom. Instead, we need to almost see this as an excuse to change. The ODU process will need replacing with something new. Could this incentivise collaborative working and the removal of waste, yet cutting out all the bureaucracy and giving a fair chance to all? Now that the UK BIM Alliance has taken the reins, there is going to be much more of a shift towards people and mending the deep-rooted cracks. This won't work unless we're all engaged together. We're all the same. We all want to build stuff and we all want to make money. But let's just do it without the conflict. The majority of millennials entered the industry post Latham and Egan. They are now starting to occupy more managerial positions. Is this the generation which will have the courage to start this? In fact, let's see about that now. So it's time to hit the factory reset button on the construction industry. And if you agree, can you tweet #ResetConstruction? For the rest of the presentation, I want us to forget how construction projects normally operate. Let's go back to 2011 and the government construction strategy. BIM wasn't the only idea mentioned. The strategy introduced 3 new models of procurement: cost-led procurement, 2-stage open book, and integrated project insurance, or IPI. For the rest of the presentation, we will focus on IPI. IPI is a fully collaborative procurement method developed by Integrated Project Initiatives Limited in conjunction with brokers Griffiths and Armour. It works off the principles of fusion, and that's fairness, unity, seamless, initiative, openness, and no blame. So let's run through the key points. In conjunction with advisors, the client has to set a well-defined need based on business strategy, available investment, stakeholders, and organisational plans. This informs the documentation which goes out to the bidders in the form of a strategic brief, success criteria, a budget, and information requirements. This sets the baseline information for the project. The client and advisors select the team based on skills, capability, motivation, response to the client's need, how well they can collaborate, which is based on behavioural workshops, and how they will drive out inefficiency in their processes. It is not centred around on who is the cheapest. Those selected form a flat virtual company called an alliance. The team can consist not only of designers, but FM, specialists, and the constructor. Note, we do not use the word contractor anymore. All decisions are made as a team, removing the barriers and silos. So now all this knowledge can now be available from the start of a project, allowing the facility to be designed just the once. There is no individual PI insurance, as everyone is covered under the same project insurance. This removes all the process and procedural information waste, and everything is open book and operates on trust. There are 3 new roles which are essential to IPI, and these are the independent facilitator, the financial independent risk assurer, and the technical independent risk assurer. These not only assist the client with the need and selection, but also provide the validation required to ensure the project. The independent facilitator also challenges traditional thinking to maintain the collaborative culture. A project bank account is set up. It is everybody's money, so people are less likely to waste it. A target cost is established, which challenges the team to design and deliver for that amount, identifying opportunities and risks along the way. If the facility is delivered below target cost, gain share is achieved, and the leftover money is shared between the alliance. If the delivery exceeds target cost up to the insured amount, pain share occurs, which means that the alliance has to pay money to make up for the shortfall. If the delivery exceeds the insured sum, the project insurance kicks in. The client's need is used to generate baseline targets, in which decisions are compared back to at each stage. This evidence-based approach ensures that the client's performance requirements are being met at every stage, and at handover they get what they want. All decisions are best for project. Design, programme and cost are all developed together in sync, starting high level and getting more detailed with time, allowing the information to exist once and to evolve as the project progresses. The information produced is only what is necessary to reach a solution, removing overproduction. Post-handover is integrated into the IPI model. The team stays together for 1 year to support training, seasonal performance monitoring, and any defects. Defects which arise after are funded by latent defects insurance for a period of 12 years. As this is new, all lessons learned must be captured, evaluated, and shared for the good of future projects. One criticism of the BIM Level 2 standards is all the perceived documentation which is required. So I'm going to go back through the IPI slides with my BIM Level 2 head on. So the client's needs is the organisational plans and strategies. Selection documentation includes the EIR, the PLQs, and the performance outcomes of BS 8536 Part 1. Selection response is the pre-contract BEP and the CPIC supplier assessment forms. The alliance structure ticks the boxes of having the team on board from the start for soft landings, a collaborative environment, one post-contract BEP, so all team members' requirements are captured at the start, and neutral roles like task team manager can be introduced. Performance validation is the soft landings performance monitoring at each client information exchange. Information existing once satisfies one of the main concepts of BIM. Progressive detail is the idea behind LOD, and in-sync design, time and cost are the 3, 4 and 5D models. Monitoring is the training part of soft landings, and there is the capability to extend the IPI model for future facility monitoring, linking in with the notion of the facility producing its own data. So as you can see, BIM theory and procedures are actually integrated into the IPI model, and they finally become part of the project itself. The first IPI project is now on site, a government pilot project in association with Innovate UK and Reading University, in which I've been fortunate to work on for the past 2 years as Joint Information Manager and Lead Model Author. Dudley College Advanced 2 is a £12 million further education facility aimed at teaching the construction professionals of tomorrow new skills like modern methods of construction, green and digital technologies, and there's even a room dedicated for immersive technology. There will be an educational information model consisting of 3D models, data and BIM documents, which will be used by the students, so they're actually learning from what we've been doing on the project. The Alliance is helping to shape the curriculum, ensuring that not only the correct skills but the correct attitudes are being taught. The Alliance was formed in May 2015 of the companies shown. However, that's not what's really important. What is important is all the pieces of knowledge which each individual holds, which are shared and joined together. So a little bit of feedback from the project. IPI has made it much more apparent how people's behaviours affect a project and how quickly they resort to type, and how fundamental communication is. Being part of an alliance, there is much more of a sense of togetherness. You start to understand each other's roles better, which increases respect. Like any other project, it has had its challenges and its problems, but when they are solved together, it creates a much better outcome. I have been encouraged by some of the things I have seen, and I know we have it in us as an industry to change. And with regards to BIM, the REBA work stages didn't fully align, so we had to develop a whole new plan of work, in which we had to start with planning and work around it. We spent a lot of time studying the BIM Level 2 documentation, joining it up and filling in the gaps. BS 8536 Part 1 is crucial. This is the glue that binds everything together. This all helped to produce an EIR, unfortunately post-appointment, and a BEP. BISRIA commended the documentation as being the closest they had seen to BIM Level 2 at the time. As we are not constrained by discipline, we could redefine roles on a work package basis right at the start. A key relationship was between design, commercial, and delivery for each work package. The supply chain, especially on a project this size, isn't ready for BIM. Two things we found important was language and education. We found working with them, explaining what we were trying to do, and educating them with non-BIM speak helped to improve engagement. Having someone who is honest and willing to change is far better than someone who lies on a form. Don't use BIM as a stick to beat them with. It's our responsibility to pass the knowledge on down the chain. The amount we have learned from this project has been immense, and it really needs to be shared. Having worked on this project, I'm going to struggle to go back to more established procurement methods. The quicker this becomes a standard procurement method, the better, but it's going to take a generational shift, which is why educational facilities such as Advanced 2 are so important. So in conclusion, IPI provides the collaborative environment and lean project structure to realise the full benefits of BIM. BIM plans and manages information to allow the IPI model to be more efficient and to create value. BIM is all about the right information to the right person at the right time in the right way. IPI allows the right people to be in the right place at the right time to receive the information. So there we have it. By adopting partnering, using procurement models such as IPI, and managing our information, it has the potential to make us lean. So can we finally put Latham's comments to bed and become unified, effective, collaborative, and capable of delivering for our customers?